I fled in the middle of the night from my parents' home. Not because I was heading off to college, not because I was chasing an adventure, but because I had to, because I wasn't safe there, so I needed to survive. That night, I became someone who could solve any problem. My friends called me a survival artist. If a crisis appeared, I knew exactly what to do. And while that made me strong, it also made me incredibly lonely. I was always on high alert, always scanning for danger. My mind never rested, and the mental load was crushing. I never waited for things to work out. I never relied on anyone. I never trusted that life would just fall into place. Instead, I believed 3 things about trust. I could only trust someone I had known for a very, very long time. Trust had to be earned. Someone had to prove they were worthy. And if trust was ever broken, it was gone forever. Many of us grow up in survival mode, maybe because we didn't receive the attention we needed, maybe because we faced hardships no child should ever have to endure, or maybe because we were just a little less lucky. We learn to navigate uncertainty, manage emotions beyond our years, and carry those lessons into adulthood. And our education, our social systems, they reinforce this. In school, we are constantly compared to others, expected to excel at everything. And in the workplace, we are told to prove ourselves while navigating power structures that makes us feel invisible, unheard, and unworthy. We learn that if we want done something right, we have to do it ourselves. Survival becomes second nature, and as we live this way, we shape the reality we believe in. Our fundamental sense of trust is shaped in our earliest years. We don't choose it. It happens to us. If the world proves to be a good place, if people are reliable, if we experience unconditional love, then we build a deep, unconscious trust in the world and other people. And if we trust, we find proof that people are loyal, dependable, and kind. But if we don't, we find proof that they will fail us. Our beliefs don't reflect reality. They create it. That's how our reality is shaped, not by facts, but by what we choose to see. And so I kept finding proof that I could only rely on myself. Then, one day, I walked into a therapist's office. And because I was used to fixing things on my own, I said, okay, let's keep this simple. I don't need to talk about my childhood. I just need a strategy to relax. She looked at me and said, well, this might take a little longer. But then something strange happened. Within minutes, I was spilling my entire life story. And then suddenly I stopped. What the hell am I doing? I don't even know her. She hadn't proven anything to me. She hadn't earned my trust. And yet I was trusting her. That realization changed everything. So think about this. Who do we trust the most in life? We trust pilots to fly us safely across the world. We trust doctors to make life or death decisions. Or we trust lawyers to defend us in court. And we trust them without knowing them personally. We trust them without them proving anything to us first. We trust them because we assume they are competent in their field. So why don't we apply the same principles to our employees, to our teams, to the people we lead? Why do we demand that trust must be earned when in so many areas of life we give it freely? Right now, trust is in decline. Society is polarized. Businesses are regressing into rigid, outdated structures. Bureaucracy is making a comeback. Faced with economic uncertainty, we fall back on control. We monitor working hours, track performance, and micromanage results. We restrict autonomy. We think younger generations don't want to work, that well-being and productivity contradict each other, or that people only perform when we watch them. But control isn't something demanded by those being controlled. It's something needed by those in control, because it gives us the illusion of security, but it is an illusion. Our workplaces cannot function this way any longer. We are running out of human cognitive and emotional resources. There are not enough workers left to monitor every detail. Knowledge is expanding faster than we can learn it, and the world is moving too fast for rigid structures to keep up. The only way to navigate the future, cut through complexity, and create sustainable impact within our resources is radical trust. And yes, trust comes with risks, but the risks of staying the same, they are far greater. So what does this mean for the three beliefs we all hold about trust? I can only trust someone I know well. Trust must be earned. And once my trust is broken, it's gone forever. My husband is the complete opposite of me. You know those people who don't even lock their doors? And then there are people like me who film themselves locking the door, just to be sure. One day, I surprised him with a flight in a small Cessna. It was a very hot summer day, and now I don't need to tell you that I'm terrified of flying, but in my mind, of course, there would be two pilots and the most modern aircraft available. But reality, we got their oldest plane. As we opened the cabin, a loose piece of plastic trim fell from the interior, held together with duct tape. My heart stopped, and my husband was like, "Oh wow, so nostalgic." And then, mid-flight, the pilot started sweating. I panicked and whispered to my husband, "He's dehydrated. He's going to pass out. Our kids will be orphans." And he smiled at me and said, "Relax. I've watched so many flying movies. I could land this thing myself." Now, ask yourself, do you see the duct tape on the ceiling or the nostalgia? For me, trusting someone, they have to prove a lot. But my husband, he trusts people immediately. They don't have to prove anything to him. That means trust is never about the person being trusted. It's always about us. When I worked in a bank, I was responsible for 120 apprentices. One of them, in the moment none of us saw coming, was part of a gang that robbed one of our branches. Trust shattered, employees were shaken, and the entire team needed psychological support. And we had a decision to make. One betrayal, one moment that could shape everything. Would we let this betrayal define our culture? Would we let one betrayal punish the 119 others who had been loyal? And yet, that's exactly what we do. We create ridiculous rules and policies, all because once someone let us down. But that day, we chose trust, and not once did we regret it. Imagine a workplace, a society, an economy built on trust. Imagine leaders who choose trust over control, who give people freedom before they prove themselves. Imagine people who grow beyond what they ever thought possible, because someone else believed in them before they believed in themselves. I fled because I wasn't safe in my parents' house. And that's probably the greatest betrayal of trust a person can experience, when the very people who are supposed to protect you fail you. So yes, of course, I couldn't trust anyone. But here's the truth. Even I, someone who never could trust, have learned how to do it. I have learned that trust isn't something we earn or wait for. It's something we build. Because trust isn't just about others. It's about how we shape our own reality. It's about choosing to see possibility instead of risk, and connection instead of isolation. It's a decision we can make at any moment in any situation, and that decision changed everything. When we choose trust, our mental load decreases. We become more resilient, more empowered, and most of all, free. Free to live our lives on our own terms. Free from fear, from control, from waiting for permission. I am not powerless. You are not powerless. Trust is not a gift someone else grants us. It's something we claim for ourselves. Trust is a choice, and the choice is yours to make. Thank you.